Sometimes I think about standing by a river, watching the water just constantly moving.
Yes. Ceaseless flow.
Exactly. And you can, try to cup your hands and hold on to it, but it just slips right through.
It does.
Life feels a bit like that
Yeah.
sometimes, doesn't it? This constant current. And it makes me wonder, how often do I, or, any of us, really pause in all that and just notice our breath, just breathing in, breathing out.
That simple rhythm, the
Right.
very ground of our being, yet so easily missed in the rush of things.
Absolutely. Which brings us right to what we're exploring today, I think. This whole idea, especially from, Buddhist thought about being present.
Present.
Sounds so simple, doesn't it? Just be present.
Yeah.
But honestly, sometimes it feels like trying to catch smoke. Why is it so slippery, so elusive?
Well, the mind, when it's untamed, it's often likened to a restless monkey.
A monkey mind, yeah, I've heard that.
Always leaping, branch to branch, past regrets, future worries, rarely settling into the stillness of here. And this constant mental chatter, this agitation, it can be deeply tiring, as you know.
Oh, exhausting is the word. It really is, like running this endless mental race, going over the past, planning the future, and the actual moment you're in just poof, gone.
Vanishes.
Yeah. I was thinking about this story I heard about an entrepreneur, Alex. Looked like a massive success from the outside, built this big company, worked relentlessly for years.
The outward signs.
Totally.
Yeah.
But underneath all that, the awards, the money, there was this feeling of emptiness, like something crucial was missing.
The pursuit of the external often carries that promise, doesn't it? Promise of inner peace it can't quite fulfill.
Exactly. Because he was always looking ahead, hit one target, boom, mind's already on the next one. Always thinking, okay, then I'll relax, then I'll enjoy life.
Postponing life itself.
Yeah. And meanwhile, life's just happening, kids growing up fast, friendships kind of fading, those little everyday things just passing by unnoticed.
Yep.
And then one night, his daughter, she just looked at him and said something so simple, but wow. She said, "Dad, I feel like you're never really here."
From the mouths of children. Such clarity can pierce through layers of our own blindness.
It really can. And it made me think, how many of us can relate to that? Maybe in smaller ways, like you're grabbing coffee with a friend, but you're half scrolling on your phone.
The divided attention.
Or that drive home from work. You pull into the driveway and barely remember the journey because your mind was just somewhere else entirely, planning tomorrow.
Yes, each moment lived on that kind of autopilot. It creates a small distance. But they add up, a distance from the fullness of our own lives.
Which really brings that core teaching to mind. Is it attributed to the Buddha? Do not dwell on the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment.
Yes, that profound instruction.
It sounds almost simple, right? Like a nice little saying.
Yeah.
But when you actually sit with it, there's such depth there.
There truly is. Because clinging to the past, well, it binds us, doesn't it? To regret, or maybe even a nostalgia that isn't quite real. It obscures now.
And dreaming of the future.
Fixating on what's yet to come, while it can give direction, it often just breeds anxiety, worry, and it stops us appreciating what's right in front of us.
So you're stuck either in what you can't change or chasing something that isn't here yet. And the one thing you do have this moment right now just slips away.
Precisely.
But when you consciously bring your focus back here, it feels like you're taking back some control maybe, or agency, the power to actually live your life as it's happening.
Yes. The present moment is that singular point where our choices truly matter, where action has effect, the past is gone, the future uncertain. Our power lies in how we meet this moment.
Okay, so if it's that valuable, why is it so darn difficult? Why do we find it so hard to just be here? What's pulling us away?
Well, part of it is our wiring. Our minds evolved for survival, for vigilance,
Right.
constantly scanning, looking for threats, looking for opportunities. This naturally pushes us to think about the future, plan, analyze the past to learn. It served our ancestors well.
Yeah, you needed to remember where the danger was or where the food was likely to be found. Made sense then.
Absolutely. But in our world today, the threats are often more abstract, aren't they? Worries about work, finances, social pressures, and there's just this relentless flood of information. So that same helpful mechanism can get stuck on. It keeps us churning, entangled in hypotheticals, past slights, pulling us away from the present, even when the present is actually safe, maybe even beautiful.
So our own brain's design, in a way, works against staying present.
Yeah.
And then there's society too, right? Always pushing for the next thing.
Societal conditioning plays a huge role. From school onwards, we're often measured by what we achieve: grades, promotions, possessions.
Yeah, the milestones.
Exactly. This can easily cultivate a belief that our worth comes from future success, not from who or how we are right now.
It's all about what you do, what you produce, not just being.
Precisely. That focus on external validation, on output, it can push us further and further away from simply experiencing the present moment for its own sake. The journey gets lost in the race to the destination.
Okay, so we've got this restless mind, survival instincts, societal pressures,
Yeah.
quite a combination working against us. So how do we even start to push back? Or maybe not push back, but find our way back. Where do we begin?
The very first step, the foundation really, is awareness.
Just noticing.
Just noticing.
Right.
Recognizing when the mind has wandered off, that act of noticing in itself is huge. And it's not about beating yourself up.
Right.
It's a gentle acknowledgement, oh, my mind went there. And then a conscious, gentle redirection back to now.
I heard it compared to like training a puppy.
That's a little bit out.
You know, wanders off, gets distracted by something shiny. You don't yell at it. You just gently guide it back again and again.
Exactly. It highlights the need for kindness, for patience, and persistence. The mind will wander. That's what minds do. The practice isn't stopping it. It's in developing the awareness to see it and the gentleness to return.
That reminds me of a story. I think it's Zen. A student asks the master about enlightenment. And the master just says, when you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk.
Yes. Simple, yet profound.
And the student's confused, right? He says, but isn't that what everyone does? And the master smiles and says, no. When most people eat, they're thinking about the next thing. When they walk, their mind is somewhere else entirely.
A perfect illustration of how fragmented our attention usually is, even in the most basic activities.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How many meals have I eaten while scrolling or half listening to something? Or even just showering? Am I feeling the warm water, or am I already planning my day?
These ordinary moments, they are the practice ground. We don't need a special cushion or a silent retreat necessarily. The opportunities are everywhere.
So for someone listening right now wanting to try this, what's a really simple, tangible first step? Something they could do like today?
Choose a simple act. Perhaps the next time you drink a cup of tea or coffee.
Okay.
Really be with that experience. Feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. Notice the steam rising. Inhale the aroma before you sip. And when you sip, really taste it. Notice the flavor, the temperature, the feeling as it goes down. Treat that simple act, that cup of tea, as if it's the most important thing happening in the world right now. Because in terms of your direct experience, it is. It's the only thing that's truly happening for you in that instant.
I like that. Taking something totally normal and making it sacred, almost, just by paying full attention.
Yes, because presence isn't about escaping reality. It's about fully inhabiting it, embracing it. It's finding the extraordinary tucked inside the ordinary, finding depth and simplicity, and there's a freedom in that too.
Yeah.
Letting go of the need to always control or be somewhere else.
So it's not about trying to force your mind blank or achieve some perfect Zen state.
Oh, not at all. Thoughts will arise. Feelings will arise. Presence is about acknowledging whatever comes up. Thoughts, sensations, emotions, without judgment, without resistance. Just noticing.
Yeah.
And as you cultivate this gentle awareness, you might start noticing small shifts. Maybe your breath deepens naturally. Your senses might feel a bit sharper. Perhaps a little lightness enters your heart.
It sounds like getting reacquainted with the world and with yourself, even though you're already here.
Beautifully put, yes. And that leads to a question perhaps for reflection, for anyone listening. How might your life change? How might your experience shift if you committed to being fully present, even for, say, 10 minutes each day? What might you discover about yourself, about others, about the world? Maybe just sit with that question. Let it breathe.
Yeah.
The answers tend to come not from thinking harder, but from the experience itself.
So we've talked about why it's hard and some first steps, but let's go a bit deeper. What does it really mean to be present? And how can that truly shift things for us?
Well, true presence, it's more than just being physically in a place, isn't it?
Right.
It's a state of alignment. Mind, body, spirit, all converging right here, right now. It's not passive. It's an active, awake engagement with this moment as it unfolds.
It's that feeling of really showing up fully.
Exactly. Bringing your whole self to whatever is right in front of you. Think about the story of Siddhartha Gautama under the Bodhi tree.
Okay.
He sat, determined to find enlightenment. And he faced immense inner challenges, didn't he? Symbolized by Mara, bringing temptations, doubt, fear, desire, all the inner storm.
It's familiar, even without the Bodhi tree.
Indeed, these are universal human currents. But the power in that story, I think, lies in Siddhartha's response. He didn't fight Mara. He didn't run away. He didn't get swept away either.
What did he do?
He acknowledged, he saw the fear, saw the desire, saw the doubt, and then he gently, firmly returned his attention back to his breath, back to the present moment, back to stillness. It was that unwavering presence, that steady return, that ultimately led to his awakening.
So it wasn't about getting rid of the difficult stuff, but about meeting it differently, with awareness.
Precisely. And that holds a key for us. Presence takes a certain courage, you could say, a willingness to be with what is, including our discomfort, our anxieties, without immediately trying to fix or escape them. And it's not about reaching some far-off goal, but about the ongoing practice, the gentle return, again and again, to the simplicity of right here, right now, whatever the circumstances.
Oh, there's a crazy busy day or quiet moment.
Yes, the principle holds. And perhaps we can explore some core threads that weave this presence together. 3 aspects often come up: mindfulness, acceptance, and connection.
Okay. Mindfulness, acceptance, connect. Let's start with mindfulness. What does that really mean in this context?
Mindfulness, at its core, is about paying attention, on purpose, in the present moment, and importantly, without judgment.
Paying attention.
It's about noticing the details, what's actually happening. Imagine walking in a forest. If you're mindful, you might notice the way the light filters through the leaves, the different shades of green, the sound of leaves crunching underfoot, maybe a bird call, the smell of damp earth.
You're really in the experience, taking it all in.
Yes, but if your mind is elsewhere, replaying an argument, worrying about bills, you could walk through that same beautiful forest and hardly notice any of it. You are physically there, but not truly present. Mindfulness is the conscious choice to engage with the unfolding reality.
So it's not about stopping thoughts, like we said before, but maybe creating some space around them.
Exactly. A helpful image is to see your mind as the sky, vast, open, always there, and your thoughts are like clouds drifting through the sky. Some clouds are dark and stormy, some are light and wispy. They come, they stay a while, they go, but the sky itself remains unchanged. Mindfulness allows us to see thoughts as thoughts, transient events, rather than identifying with them completely or believing they are absolute truths we must obey. We can just acknowledge them, thinking, and let them pass.
That sounds like it could create a lot of freedom, less reactivity.
It often does, and this isn't just philosophy. Modern science is catching up, Studies show mindfulness practice can genuinely reduce anxiety, help with depression, improve focus. There's even research, like studies out of Harvard, showing it can change the brain physically. Increases in gray matter in areas linked to learning, memory, emotional regulation.
Wow. So just paying attention differently can actually reshape our brains.
It seems so. It highlights that presence is a skill we can cultivate with tangible effects. So that's mindfulness. Shall we move to acceptance? How does that fit in?
Okay, acceptance. This feels important too. It's about embracing what is right, even when we don't like it.
Precisely. So much of our inner struggle comes from resisting reality, wishing things were different, fighting against what's happening. This resistance, this non-acceptance, often creates more suffering than the original situation itself.
It's like pushing against a locked door. Just exhausting and doesn't change the fact it's locked.
A perfect analogy. There's that well-known saying, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
Right. What's the distinction there?
Pain is the inherent difficulty of life. Loss happens, sickness happens, disappointment happens. These are part of the human condition. Suffering, in this view, is the added layer. It's our resistance, our wishing it weren't so, our mental commentary about the pain. That's the part we have some choice over.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about being stuck in a traffic jam. The pain is the inconvenience, the delay. That's the reality. The suffering might be the rising anger, the honking, the frustration, the mental story about how unfair it is, how late you'll be. That's the added layer of resistance. Alternatively, one could accept, okay, I'm in traffic. I can't change this right now. And maybe use the time differently. Breathe. Listen to music. Observe. The external situation is the same, but the internal experience can be vastly different based on acceptance.
So acceptance isn't being passive or just giving up. It's not saying, oh, this terrible thing is fine.
Not at all. It's acknowledging reality, seeing clearly what is, and from that place of clear seeing, you can then choose how to respond wisely, with grace, rather than just reacting out of frustration or denial. Think of someone like Thich Nhat Hanh during the Vietnam War. Amidst unimaginable suffering, he radiated peace. He accepted the harsh reality, but he didn't condone it or give up. He acted with immense compassion from that place of acceptance. He famously said, "Hope is important, but the most important thing is to be here now."
That's incredibly powerful. Accepting the reality, however harsh, as the starting point for compassionate action. Okay. So mindfulness, acceptance, and the third was connection. How does presence foster connection?
Presence is the very soil in which deep connection grows. First, connection with ourselves. When we are present, we become more aware of our own inner landscape, our feelings, needs, values.
Right. You get to know yourself better.
Yes. And then it extends outwards. Think about a conversation where you feel truly listened to, where the other person isn't just waiting to talk or checking their phone, but is fully with you.
Yeah, that feels amazing. Rare sometimes, but amazing.
It is nourishing, isn't it? Because in those moments we feel seen, heard, understood. The usual sense of separation softens. Presence creates that space for genuine connection.
It feels like barriers come down.
They do, and this connection extends even further. There's a beautiful concept called interbeing.
Interbeing.
Yes, Thich Nhat Hanh spoke about it often. It's the understanding that nothing exists in isolation. Everything is interconnected. A flower, for example, cannot be by itself. It needs sunlight, rain, soil, air, bees. It inter-is with everything else.
Ah, I see. It depends on everything around it.
Exactly, and so do we. We interact with each other, with the planet, with the air we breathe. Recognizing this deep interconnectedness naturally fosters a sense of presence, of care, of responsibility.
So understanding that we're all connected encourages us to be more present with each other and the world.
It certainly can. When we practice presence in our interactions, truly listening, offering our full attention, our relationships deepen. When we practice presence with nature, really noticing the details, the sounds, the smells, our sense of belonging strengthens. We feel less like separate observers and more like participants in this vast web of life.
Wow. It's not like cultivating presence really does have this ripple effect. It changes how we are inside and then how we relate to everything else.
It truly does. As you commit more to being present, you might find yourself becoming naturally more patient, kinder perhaps, more resilient when challenges arise, because you're meeting life from a place of greater awareness and acceptance, not just habitual reaction.
Like that executive you mentioned earlier, maybe the burnt out one.
Ah, yes, the example of Sarah. Burnt out executive, stressed, disconnected. She started incorporating small moments of mindfulness into her day. Pausing between meetings, focusing on her breath, really listening to her team.
And what happened?
Over time, she reported feeling calmer, less reactive. Her team felt more heard, collaboration improved. Interestingly, her productivity actually went up, even though she wasn't multitasking as much. And she started noticing small joys again. It changed her whole experience of work and life.
That's a great illustration. So it makes you wonder if every single moment really does hold infinite potential, like the poets say. What possibilities could we unlock if we chose to be fully present more often? Could it lead to deeper connections, like you said, more fulfillment, maybe even things we can't even imagine right now?
These are the profound invitations of presence, aren't they? And the answers, I believe, are not found in thinking about them, but in living them, in the direct experience of showing up, moment by moment.
Okay, so we got a good sense now of what presence is, why it matters. Now, the really practical bit. How do we actually start doing this? How do we weave it into our busy, sometimes chaotic everyday lives?
And the wonderful thing is, it doesn't have to be complicated. Presence is inherently simple. It's accessible right now. No special equipment needed. No grand gestures required. It's about where you place your attention.
So step one, where does someone start, realistically?
Step one, start small, stay consistent. Don't try to be perfectly present all day from the get-go. That's setting yourself up for frustration.
Or like baby steps.
Exactly. Introduce tiny moments of awareness. We talked about the breath earlier. It's always with you, your portable anchor. Right now, even as you listen, can you take just one conscious breath? Feel the air coming in and going out.
Right.
That's it. That's a moment of presence. Maybe set an intention to do that a few times today. When you wake up, before a meal, when you feel stressed. Just 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Everyone has 10 seconds.
Precisely. And notice when the mind wanders off during that 10 seconds, because it probably will. That's okay. That's normal. The practice isn't not wandering. It's the gentle noticing and the gentle return, like guiding that puppy back.
Gently. No self-criticism.
None. Kindness is key. Think of it like building a muscle. Short, consistent practice builds strength over time much better than one huge, overwhelming workout that leaves you sore and unwilling to try again.
Okay, start small, be consistent, use the breath.
Got it.
What's next? Step 2.
Step 2. Turn mundane moments into sacred rituals. We have this idea sometimes that presence requires, sitting on a mountaintop or having some dramatic experience.
Yeah, like it's only for monks or something.
Right. But presence is found right here in the everyday. Washing the dishes, brushing your teeth, waiting in line. These moments we usually rush through or tune out of, they are golden opportunities.
It's
But bringing your full attention, engaging your senses. When you wash dishes, really feel the warm water on your hands. Notice the smoothness of the plates, the smell of the soap, the sound of the water.
Instead of mentally planning your next meeting or replaying a conversation.
Exactly. You transform it. It stops being a chore you rush through and becomes, well, an experience. A moment of being fully alive. This shift in perspective changes your relationship with your own life. You start seeing little pockets of beauty or peace you were previously overlooking.
Finding the sacred in the ordinary. I like that. Okay, so mundane rituals. Step 3.
Step 3. Use anchors to ground yourself. Life will pull your attention away. Notifications ping, thoughts race. Anchors are like little reminders, gentle nudges to come back to the present.
We mentioned the breath as an anchor. What else could work?
It can be almost anything, really. Something physical is often helpful. Maybe keeping a small, smooth stone in your pocket and consciously feeling its texture when you notice your mind racing.
A tactile reminder.
Or maybe a malabide bracelet. Or simply the feeling of your feet on the floor. Standing, walking, just noticing that contact point with the earth. It could even be a word or a short phrase you silently repeat. Here. Now. Breathing in.
Just a simple internal cue.
Yes, and nature is a powerful anchor for many. Stepping outside for a moment, feeling the air on your skin, hearing bird song, noticing the color of the sky, these can instantly cut through the mental clutter and bring you back to the immediacy of now.
So finding little touchstones throughout the day.
Yeah.
Okay, what's step 4?
Step 4 is vital. Embrace imperfection.
This sounds important.
It is, because the goal isn't perfection. It's not about achieving some flawless state of constant, unwavering presence. That's unrealistic and leads to disappointment.
We're human, minds wander.
Exactly. Remember the child learning to walk? They stumble, they fall down, they get back up. It's part of the process. We need that same patience and self-compassion with ourselves in cultivating presence. Every time you notice you've drifted and you gently bring yourself back, that is the success. That moment of awareness is the practice.
Not the length of time you stayed focused before drifting.
Precisely. There's a story of a student frustrated with his constantly wandering mind during meditation. The Zen teacher said, "Trying to force your mind to be still is like trying to empty a river with a spoon. Don't fight the current, just sit with it, observe it."
That's such a relief, actually. Don't
Right.
fight the current, just sit with it. Observe.
Yeah.
So it's about noticing the thoughts without getting tangled.
Yes, observing them without attachment, without judgment, and gently returning your focus to your chosen anchor. Your breath, your feet, the stone. Imperfection is not failure. It's part of the path.
Okay, embrace imperfection. That's 4 steps. Is there a 5th?
Step 5 is perhaps less a step and more an integration, make presence a way of life.
Going beyond just the specific practices.
Exactly. Elevating it from something you do occasionally to a fundamental way you are, bringing that quality of mindful awareness into everything.
How might that look?
In your work, maybe it's choosing focused attention on one task instead of frantic multitasking. In relationships, it's listening to understand, not just to reply. It's being fully present with your own experiences too. The joys, yes, but also the sorrows, the discomforts, meeting them with awareness rather than avoidance.
So it permeates everything. A shift in how you engage with, well, everything.
Precisely. Because presence ultimately changes everything. It marks a shift from prioritizing doing to valuing being. From always striving for a future goal to experiencing the richness of the journey right now.
It sounds like it undermines fear, too, somehow.
It does, because so much fear is rooted in past regrets or future anxieties. Presence anchors you firmly in the only time that is actually real now. And it connects you to yourself, to others, to something larger. It fosters that sense of inner being we spoke of.
That quote comes to mind, Eckhart Tolle. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have.
A profound truth. Simple yet easy to forget in the rush.
So true.
Imagine a single candle flame burning steadily in a dark room. It doesn't struggle, it doesn't strive, it simply shines, illuminating what is right there. Your presence can be like that flame. It doesn't require force. It asks for a kind of surrender, a willingness to just be with this moment exactly as it is.
That's a beautiful image. The steady flame.
And remember, this journey of cultivating presence, it's ongoing. There's no final destination where you arrive. There are always new layers to discover, deeper connections to make. So be patient, be kind to yourself, savor the process, and perhaps realize that life right here, right now, in all its messy, imperfect glory, is already whole, already complete.